Welcome to another episode of Life Distilled. Cobey Williamson here, founder of MicroShiner, and we're here at the MicroShiner headquarters with a short little bonus episode for everybody. And, first things first, how about a cocktail? So we're breaking out a little something here from our good friends at Last Hope and Barrow's Intense. Throw a couple cubes in here. And then I'll show you what I'm making. Thanks to our good friends at Hillbilly Stills for this glassware. Last Hope Dry Gin, some Barrow's Intense. Again, shout out to the guys over at Hillbilly. Thanks for that. So we're going to make an intense gin lemonade using the Barrow's Intense Ginger Liqueur and this dry gin from Last Hope that we just love. Southernmost distillery in the world, down in Patagonia, Chile. Our good friend Ross Raby brought this back for us, and such a pleasure. Oh, this is just a wonderful gin. If you can get your hands on it, I highly recommend it. So the Barrow's Intense Gin Lemonade calls for 1.5 ounces of gin, but I'm going to dumb that down a little bit and just do 1 ounce of gin. And then they ask for 1/2 ounce of the Barrow's Intense Liqueur, which again, if you don't have that on your shelf, get some of that. Small batch ginger liqueur. So good. So good. Can't recommend enough. And this whole episode, we're going to be talking about small batch, and it's sad to say I was unable to find some small batch lemonade. Could have done hand squeezed, I suppose, but I was running short on time. So we're going with the Nantucket Nectars. And if anybody has any recommendations for small batch lemonade, love to see that in the comments. Shoot us a note at info@microshiner.com. Tweet it to us at MicroShiner, wherever you like to get it on. Give us a shout, tell us where you can get some small batch lemonade, because that would just make this all the better. Pop that back on there, and we set this off so that everybody can enjoy a look at that beautiful Last Hope label and that bottle of Barrow's Intense. All right, like I said, what we wanted to get into today, I guess I'm doing this a little short episode, just myself with you folks today. Cheers. Oh, gotta like that. Gotta like that. I was perusing the internet the other day, and I noticed my good friends at Beard Brand had a whole little piece on how you can deal with getting your beard in your drink. So if you're a bearded gentleman like myself and like them, you can pop over to Beard Brand, and Eric and the folks there have some great tips for people that wear beards. It does get a little obnoxious every once in a while, and sometimes you got to turn that thing back. So, as I mentioned, what I wanted to get into today is small batch, because as much as anything, MicroShiner is about small batch lifestyle. We love us a cocktail, as you can clearly see. Thanks again to everybody who provided us with this wonderful libation here. But small batch across the board is how we try to live. And I just wanted to kind of share with you folks, what the benefit of being a part of this small batch movement, the craft movement, really is, because it's remarkable. It's remarkable. It really is. The level of quality, the customer service, just the general rapport, the friendships that you create through that, just the world of good that comes out of leading the small batch life is worth every bit of maybe the extra penny that you have to spend on it. And I think, looking at it from a value proposition, as I like to do, it really comes out that you win economically as much as anything. So you might have to wait a little while before you can pick something up because you're waiting to buy the most quality thing that you can get your hands on. But then it lasts you a lifetime, and you just can't go wrong with that. And so one thing that I wanted to share with you folks, hold on one more, was just this wonderful story about a tie. I went to Portland for the Toast event. Met some folks there, networking. We did a little piece. My partner Brian met me up there. We, met people, took a bunch of photos, shared our magazine around the Toast event, which is a wonderful craft spirits event held by the Oregon Distillers Guild there in Portland. Got done with that. Was downtown the next day. Thought, I might do a little cruising around, check some things out, do a little shopping. I popped in, picked myself up a nice leather wallet, and then was actually looking for a tie. And not really knowing where to go in Portland, I kind of just popped into the first department store that I came across, which was a Nordstrom's. And a great guy there helped, wish I could remember his name. I've got his card still somewhere, and shout out to that guy. Fine young gentleman. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a tie to go with this shirt here. What can you do for me? And he set me up with this tie that I just loved. Great colors, really went well with the shirt. Higher end tie. I mean, it's not super nice, but it's hand sewn here in America. And I was really pleased with it. Well, I went on a trip up to British Columbia to a friend's wedding, and got a little tighter than probably should have, and ended up putting the tie in the pocket of my shirt, and then I washed the shirt. And if you've ever put a tie in your shirt, in the laundry, and then in the dryer, and if anyone's ever told you how to care for a tie, you'll know that that did not end well. So the tie was ruined. All the batting inside was all down in the end, and the tie was misshapen, and I did what little I could to try to make it a little bit better, but I really got nowhere on it. So I boxed it up and I put it in the mail, and I sent it to the folks who made it and said, hey, with a little note that said, hey, I was really happy with this tie, and it's my favorite tie. I'm wondering if you can't rebuild it, because they sewed it by hand. And let me just share with you how that turned out. So that company that I was dealing with is J.Z. Richards out of Boulder, Colorado, made in the USA, ties, and I think they do pocket handkerchiefs and a few other little gentleman wear. But here, check this out. This is what they send me back, right? This is what you get when you decide to make the move to small batch. Sent them back their tie. Jay-Z's company sends me a nice little presentation, folks, right? I still am. Wonderful, huge fan of this wonderful television show called Northern Exposure. If you haven't watched it, get every episode, sit down, binge that stuff, because it will blow your mind. You will learn things. It's great. And there's a gentleman in there. He's a chef. He's hiding out in the bush. He doesn't wear shoes. And he comes in, he's working in the restaurant. That's kind of one of the focal points of the show. And he's talking to the people that work there, and they're about to send out a plate. And he's like, wait a minute, presentation. And he has to fix it up. So look at this. This is how this comes to me. A little card. It says Mr. Cobey Williamson from J.Z. Richards. Amazing. Handwritten note. I just love these people. Hello, Mr. Williamson. Thank you for getting in touch with us. So unfortunate that your favorite tie went through the wash! ! As a customer courtesy, and this is how these folks roll. This is what you get when you get into this type of customer service. As a customer courtesy, we've enclosed a replacement tie for you. Hope that you like it. We appreciate your patronage of J.Z. Richards Ties. Thanks again. Best regards, Tammy Larson at J.Z. Richards Limited, handcrafted silk neckwear. Boulder, Colorado. Incredible, incredible. Go ahead and go down to wherever you buy your cheap clothing and argue with them about the tie you put through the wash and see how that goes. I can guarantee that it will not go in a hand-tied bow with a not exact replica, but a darn close facsimile of the tie that I previously had. The other one had more circular forms rather than the square forms, same colors, very close to the same color thread throughout. Maybe a touch bit more red on my previous tie. Can't wait to wear this. You'll see it on the show again. So pleased with JZ Richards. Obviously, gonna buy all my ties for those folks from here on out. So that's a little story about a tie and small batch life. If you're a tie wearer, I recommend JZ Richards. Obviously, they're great. If you put your tie in the wash, they're probably not going to give you another one, but they may. And I just wish those guys the very best. Cheers to them. Can't wait to pick up another tie from them. Kind of slurping my drink today. So then the next thing I want to tell you about is another small batch company that I've come across that I just had a great relationship with, that I'm just super excited about. I've been looking at all their new drops that are just huge, and I'm just so excited about it. I just want to drop a whole bunch of money on their site because so many of their clothes are so amazing. And I'll tell you a little bit about it, but first I'm going to pop into this box really quick, and you'll see what I mean. So again, presentation, I open up the box, and we got a couple of little, people like to say swag. I don't know about that. It's not stuff we all get. Swag, that's something. Maybe this is stuff we all get when you get Coldsmoke. But they sent along this nice little field notes book, field journal, so you can take some notes. I'm a huge fan of having notebooks. I have one always with me, back pocket. Always taking notes. I recommend you do too. Have yourself a pen, get yourself a nice daily carry pen, and take care of that. So I want to pop this in because I wrote a few notes. I kind of cheated a little bit just to be telling you guys that. But so this company is called Coldsmoke Apparel, and they're awesome. Obviously, their name, you can tell that they kind of got some roots in skiing and snowboarding. And how they kind of came about was they somehow were on a couple of heli ski trips, and just decided, hey, what would be cool is to make some super great technical performance mountain apparel for these powder heli ski guys, because obviously they saw that it could be improved. And so they started thinking about doing that. And again, that's a pretty tough market. There's some great small batch companies out there, and we'll share some more of those. There's a couple small ones out of the Pacific Northwest that I'm a real big fan of. But then you're up against the big guns like Patagonia on one end, Helly Hansen, North Face, as we're starting to slide down a little bit, Mountain Hardwear, Columbia still makes a great coat for a really reasonable price, you know. So I'm sure those guys kind of were saying, well, how can we break into this? And I don't know the whole story on that part, but that's kind of the roots. They're up there in BC, they're riding the Coldsmoke, and they're like, we're going to make some clothes. But what they kind of came to was, let's make some clothes where we take the technical acuity of a performance heli ski guide coat, and let's put that into some apparel that people can wear on the street, and really kind of leverage that and apply it to making apparel that a person can wear every day and in any environment all the time. So you can go basically from the hill right downtown for a cocktail, and you're going to look good, you're going to feel good, and if your plane crashes in the jungle, you're going to survive. That's the type of clothing that these guys are talking about making, and I think they're nailing it. The other thing is they're doing it in nice small quantities, and they're cutting out all the middlemen. They're going direct to customer, which is another thing we're huge fans of here. And just everything about them is just killer. So I'd come across these cats and was stoking on their stuff, and I saw they came out with this, where I really first learned about them was somehow I saw a newsletter or email, something about this MA1 flight jacket that they were making, and they'd kind of tweaked it and tailored it, and it wasn't your straight up MA1, which is a coat that's near and dear to me. I had to have one when I was a kid, 7th grade. It was all the rage. It's the 80s, and I had to have this coat, and somehow I got it. And here these guys are making one in this really funky blue Japanese fabrics. All their fabrics are just out of this world. They find the best world-class fabrics, and they make their apparel out of them, and it's always just amazing stuff. So they making this coat. It's they're doing this short run of blue, and it just inspired me to write a little piece about how my own experience with the MA1, and how much that coat meant to me, and what I really thought that coat meant as a moment in time to society. And so I wrote a piece, and I encourage you to check it out. It's on the blog, microshiner.com. Check our feed, all kinds of great stories there. You can read about the MA1 from Coldsmoke and my experience with the MA1. But that got me chatting with the guys there, and Liam was kind enough to hit me up not so long ago and say, hey, we got this new coat that we're coming out with, and we'd love for you to check it out and try it out, give it a little test. And so that's what I intend to do. I'm gonna run it through the ringer. I'm gonna test it in all those environments, from the hill to the dale to the cocktail bar downtown. And I wanted to share that with you guys because, again, these small batch companies, they just knock it out of the park, and everybody should be buying small batch, in my opinion. I can't recommend it enough. I'm gonna beat you guys up if you watch this this webcast. If you listen to this podcast, you're going to hear this time and again. Stop going to the strip mall. Stop going to the department store. Stop buying all that stuff. Go find some people that you appreciate, like human beings that you appreciate that are doing something awesome, and give them your money. Don't give it to all these goofballs, because you don't know where it's going, and you don't know what it's about, and I don't think you want to live your life that way. At least I don't. So I'm in touch with these cats. They shipped me up a box, and I'm gonna share that with you. So check it out. So again, as you noticed, we saw before, pardon me, right out of the box, get this sweet little bit of field guide. Uh-oh, that cocktail's already getting to me. Simplicity and complexity, the nature of the game. Everybody carry your field journals. Got ourselves a little shopping bag, because if you use a plastic shopping bag, you're ridiculous. I don't mean to be rude to people, but we've really moved past that. I was trading comments with some people on Instagram. That was in the box, and talking about this awesome straw that they had made out of some sort of bamboo or something in a drink in Thailand or Bangladesh or Singapore or something like that. And I said, plastic, it's so 20th century. And it really is, we're in the 21st century, and it's time to get to grips with things, and having your own bag with this sweet Coldsmoke label on it is the way to go to the store. Again, just like the J.Z. Richards folks, presentation, top shelf, sweet, and this is what we got coming out of the box. Camson Chore Coat. Super excited about this. Coldsmoke. There you are, folks. Created in Venice. These guys do a local little workshop. When I was talking to Liam one day, I said, it's so cool that you guys do, small runs, small batch. Tell me a little bit more about that. And he said, well, it's just the only way you can make something decent. Because the things that we want to do, there just aren't that many craftsmen around in the world that are knowledgeable enough to do it, right? And I can really appreciate that. That's the kind of people I want to spend my money with, the kind of people I want to support. Put a little something in their pocket so they can go heli skiing and take care of their people. So this is the Camson Chore Coat, kind of, in the vein of your Carhartt or Filson Chore Coat, but it's made out of a more technical material, and it's tailored a little bit more for a bit of a more urban, more tailored fit, but still the kind of thing that you can wear out into the the dog yard and feed Siberian Huskies, which you'll see me doing. Not as much as my wife, though. Digging this coat. I was really worried about the fit. I'm kind of between a small and a medium. This is the medium. Kind of left it in their hands and aired on the side of the larger, and I'm glad I did. Glad they did, because it fits like a dream. So pleased. Really excited to see how this thing wears. Beat it up a little bit. They have a pair of new chinos, performance chinos that they just got out that I'm really gonna check out. Of course, small batch. We've got our American khakis here. And that's really what it's all about. Small batch lifestyle, that's what MicroShiner is about. That's what we aim to bring you with this podcast and this webcast. Hoping that everybody keeps following, keeps sharing. I really don't like that whole thing where everybody panders to everyone. Come on, put a comment. Rate us on Apple Tunes and all that. Yeah, please do. I would really appreciate it. But we're not going to spend a lot of time doing that on our media, because, well, if you like it, you should, and if you don't. And if it's too much of a trouble, then there you go. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to bring you small batch lifestyle. We're here to bring you craft cocktails, things like Barrow's Intense, Last Hope Gin, Mike Haney and the boys at Hillbilly Stills, Coldsmoke Apparel, Jay-Z Richards Ties. I mean, these are people that I talk to, that I've interacted with, that I'm building relationships with, and that's what I hope that everybody out there in the MicroShiner world does. Go out, make some friends, buy some cool stuff, make some cool stuff, share it with some people. Cheers.